Hello, guys. We're going to do something in this video that I don't do all the time, and just because of the nature of this game and how ridiculous this game was and how long this game was, we're actually going to stay at 2 times speed for most of it. Apologies if you like the slow, drawn-out type of game, but this is not one of them, and there's lots of content coming to the channel that's your normal upload. I figured with a game like this, we need to go faster speed through most of it. So it won't be the whole time, but just for some of it, so you know. And what you're watching here is a 2v2 Arabia game that I played a month or two ago. And I was teamed up with Dobbs, who's a 2200 ranked player. Typically likes his more closed maps. We go back about 10 or so years. Known him a long time. And I was just playing some team games randomly, and I was like, yo, Dobbs, let's play. And we played some Nomad, we played some Arena, we played well, and then we get to a map that I normally prefer, Arabia. And so I'm here, so 2400 elo or 2300 depending on the time, 2200 elo. And then here KDOS is 1900 elo. He's playing as the Incas. And then we have 1700 elo for Lakura, at least like right now. So obviously we're the big favorites as far as elo is concerned. But the thing about Arabia is it's super open and anything can happen. And if they can potentially coordinate and get enough pressure down, obviously they always have their chances. I also quite like their civs as well. I think Portuguese are definitely close to S tier with archers. Dobbs has Portuguese, but unfortunately, Dobbs is Dobbs and doesn't see his Rhino. So, again, don't worry. There's going to be plenty of good things to say about Dobbs. But this start is... It's not good. He doesn't see it. It's very unlucky. I think he believes it's been stolen at this point. Yeah. Khmer, sorry, is what I wanted to say. Khmer are a really good flank civ for going scouts, and that's what blue will do. And for me, I don't really have an eco bonus to work with, but I was thinking fast upgrades with the Bulgarians, with the faster researching blacksmith text, that would be my main advantage. So something about me when I play is I like to coordinate. Like, if it's a team game, I actually want it to be a team game. So as Dobbs still doesn't know about this Rhino, which is actually hilarious looking back, I'm game planning a lot. So I could see how, like, if you didn't know my relationship with Dobbs or whatever, you might think, oh, T90's barking orders. I just like to talk about what we're doing here, right? So I say, like, hey, we're verse player 1. Let's go to your guy. The logic here was, I think I'm going to be worse behind in the scout battle because of the civ. So I want to get my ally ahead in the archer battle. I didn't know how bad his build was. But anywho, my scout's around, and I'm going to try and harass KDOS as much as possible. Now, this ends up being a crazy game. I want you to remember this, okay? So, it's Arabia. I get lamed all the time. I never know what I'm going to be expecting. And it's cutthroat stuff. And so I'm like, I should lame. And I start to steal the goats, and then he frowns at me, and I thought, maybe I shouldn't. So I give him the goats back. I don't know if that considers me a nice guy or what. But anyways, he tells his teammate that I lamed. Now, this is my job now to communicate that I don't see my opponent yet, but it's still rather early in feudal age. And I know there's a lot happening. And so blue shows up. Blue says, like, and we might slow it down here at some point, but blue basically says, like, hey, there's no boar for this guy. Dobbs loses one vill. He loses an archer. Dobbs is going to fail the quick wall here and lose another vill. He's going to lose another vill. And basically, this is a no good, very bad day for Dobbs. Dobbs is having a horrible, horrible, horrible time. Amazing job from blue. Amazing job from teal. And he says, dadgum, dead. And, like, let's assess. He's at 22 vills. His opponent's at 28. He's still got an army in his base. He is dead. He is so dead. He was on this gold. Now he gets pushed off the gold. He doesn't have the walls. And so now I'm just like, I've got to do some damage here. I've got to recover in some way because my teammate is completely destroyed. And also, I did try and communicate that my opponent wasn't here, but I didn't communicate it in time. Clearly, he wasn't really prepared. But from the other team's perspective, they've got to stay alive now, and they probably win this game. Dobbs barely has any archers, and they've got double army. So I'm able to find a couple Vil picks. I did snag armor and forging. I'm doing my best. And I was just about to get the walls down, and blue runs underneath my TC with these scouts. So I mismicro this a little bit. Here comes the army away from Dobbs' base. I mean, Dobbs, this is... I haven't seen this game in 2 months. This is worse than I remember. Absolutely brutal. And they're playing really well. This is why, by the way, like, people will lay me, for example, and I'm like, well, I should have done it myself. Like, people get really cutthroat in these games, so I kind of figured I needed to take every advantage I could. That's funny. KDOS is pointing out that I sent the sheep back after the sad face. So maybe I'm just too much of a softie. I don't know. But Blue, who I actually talked to later on, Blue, you're annoying, okay? You're doing such a good job at annoying me, which is exactly what you should do. And I'm trying to do the same thing to him. He tries to maybe wall me in there. I'm not too sure. But still, at this point, I haven't really been able to really recover or equalize the Vil count. And now, Teal comes in with some leftover army to my golds. And I'm still trying to get some walls down. I've still got these scouts to harass Blue as much as possible. But what I am doing, guys, is I am taking pressure off of Dobbs. So Dobbs hasn't been hit in a long time. Dobbs is on one-range archers. Dobbs is back on wood. Dobbs could maybe wall. So, like, that in and of itself is a positive, I suppose. But this is bad. And I've committed to a lot of scouts and upgrades. I haven't really killed a ton. My eco hasn't exactly been efficient either. And Blue's played a really good game, but he's on the defensive right now. And so I'm just simply doing what I can. So I'm saying 14. I know we're behind at this point, and we might speed up a little bit again. But I'm basically like telling Dobbs, we got to do some damage here. I didn't think he was up necessarily to Castle Age. This is a crazy Castle Age time, but I wanted to force the fights, and sometimes just taking out their production forces them to repair. You could tell Blue's being a little shaky, and they sat back a little bit, waited a little too much time, and actually, we'll go normal speed for now. A lot's happening because Teal's army has made his way to the back of my base. I've had to drop a tower. But as Blue's hoping to get upgrades, the villagers now come here from Dobbs. And so, us being the favorites, I'll tell you, like, exactly what we've done is they hesitate. It takes a little bit too much time for them to do damage. And then we find a way to take initiative back in the game. That's what Age of Empires 2 is at the end of the day sometimes. Is who's holding initiative. If they're not immediately doing damage to you in a way where you have to react, you're obviously going to be able to head to their base. So in this case, for example, I'm thinking, do I have to kill this? I kind of want to kill this. I kind of have to kill this, but I also need Castle Age. And the tower gives me enough room to breathe, at least for now. And I'll click up to Castle Age here in a moment. Blue at 37 Vils, but building the second TC. I mean, this is a decent eco here for Blue. The farms, obviously, for the Chimera paid off. But not seeing a whole lot of army just yet. Those knights will eventually become a problem. I'm 2 minutes away from Castle Age. And I don't have an eco bonus with my civs, so I'm just like, I gotta go full army, right? I have no choice. We have to go full army here. And so my scouts make it this way. Teal over at Dobbs' base right now, underneath the tower. And also microing the army behind my base. And so we get some pretty big damage in here. Bloodlines isn't actually in for me yet, which probably could have been higher priority. But we get some Vil snipes. And Blue's Knights have to come this way, which is the key. So we've officially brought ourselves back into this game where I thought we were completely dead. Blue took some losses, and now Teal's taking some losses as well. A nice shot from Dobbs to turn it around as well. Obviously, it was a nightmarish situation for him. He'll lose his archers in the end. But that's a pretty decent amount of idle time for Teal. Off of the wood, off of the gold. And still has to worry about my scouts, which are lurking around. Now, I lost some scouts in the process, but I did clear up the archers in the back, so that's good. And we have the population lead as the team. But Dobbs still hasn't clicked, isn't in Castle Age, still 2 minutes away from Castle Age. That's a problem. The main problem, really, is Blue is on 3 TCs. and has 8 knights. I can't make knights for 5 seconds. And he already has 8 knights with 2 in the queue and 3 town centers. Now, when you're on 3 TCs at this time, it is a little bit difficult to justify production out of all those things, right? Like, you're usually choosing villagers more often than knights. But once you get to 10 knights, that'll take a long time for me to match that. So, yeah, I'm going to have my work cut out for me here. Again, it's been a little while since this game was played. I just remembered it was a banger. Did I not remember that there was a hole here? I don't think I did. I'm looking to apply pressure. And the knights are going to run right into my base. And yup, that's not fun. There's really no easy way for me to damage control this. And so, nice job from blue to repair the houses and wait for knights to come around to deal with that. And this is horrible for me. The tower can only save 5 vills. All of my farmers have to go idle. And just keep an eye on my vill count here. It's not going to be good. Blue also went for +2 attack right away, which is kind of interesting. Technically, the armor would have been a bit more helpful underneath the TC and the tower fire. But he also killed the vills so much faster. My light cap did get moved away. So I didn't lose them. That would have been twice as bad for me. But blue sniping all these weak vills. Again, blue, you're annoying. Congratulations. I mean that in a good way. That's actually a compliment. I'm sure he thinks the same about me right now as I'm still trying to break through. But 38 vills for me. 50 villagers for blue. And blue's 3 TCs. And blue has Khmer farms. Which I do not have. Because technically, my TCs cost less stone, so I could still build a TC. But I need army control right now. And if you're already behind in eco, it's sometimes not the play to try and catch up there. Like, I'm behind in eco and military, and basically I have to choose one, right? And in my view, I have to choose army. Now, nice signaling from blue. He actually signaled exactly the path I'm going to take. That's the type of communication you need. And obviously, Dobbs and I will try that. Dobbs is in the back clearing up Teal's army that was on the wood line. But he basically gave Teal a heads up that I was going to be here. But these maps are crazy open, right? And so there was some pre-walling on the wood line. But there's not perfect pre-walling here on the golds. And my light cav are going to get through. Now, sometimes, guys, this is enough to scare someone away. The TC fire and some walls, people are going to leave. Blue does not. And it's obviously the good play for blue. He breaks through here. I have a horrible time. And there was actually a weird gap between my house and between this stable there. I don't really know how, but that's just Age of Empires things. And blue just sends it, which is exactly what you want to do as the underdog. And so here we are again. This is horrible. I cannot compete with the amount of knights that are out in the field right now. I just cannot. The only thing that's good now is we've continued to buy Dobbs some time to cook. And he's cooking back here. He's cooking on 3 ranges. He's still 1 TC. But at least he's making a lot of army. Now, my army got through and killed some villagers here. We killed 5 or so vills. So we're harassing blue. That's good recovery. But I can't really... It's really tough for me to make enough army to even win this fight. Painful. I've got 34 vills. The majority of my vills are idle. And as a team, we're behind by 20 population. And you look at this right now, it's like, how do we win? Should be impossible. Like, we should be completely dead. The only way I think that is winnable at this position is if Dobbs goes and kills Teal, right? But that's not happening. Teal is behind in vills, but has the same amount of army. And the fact that Dobbs now has to come over to essentially save what's left of me is really bad momentum-wise for the game for us. But it had to happen. It was that bad. I was just... I now am essentially dead. And this is on Dobbs. And hopefully I don't have to be a factor for a while. Because if that's the case, we will have some problems. Now, I got a little annoyed with Dobbs there because he didn't stick around. And blue continues to snipe my villagers, which, again, well played, blue. Very impressive. You're so annoying, and I think you should be proud of that. I'm at 34 vills. Blue's at 54. And this is game over. Usually. Like, this is game over. But naturally, this is a video. So, Somehow, this becomes a crazy game from here. And it's all going to be about Dobbs holding on somehow. The way I would say it is, from here, you need to kill the other guy, right? And that's exactly what they're going to do. The knights are in perfect position. The crossbows are in perfect position. Now, we do have an army here. And so the knights and the crossbows are going to work together. And Blue, in a bit of a panic, I think, is going to send all of his army home now to try and clear this. They have a 60 population lead. Dobbs is behind his guy in Vils. He's ahead of him in, well, no categories, actually. It's horrible. And I'm going full army 1TC. I'm leaving my Vils exposed. I'm even adding monks. I'm just like, adding eco doesn't make any sense now. And they're going to get the full clear on this side, kill the whole army, 90 population lead. It is 195 pop versus 110 pop for the team. We are both behind our guy in eco. We are both behind our guy in army. This is over. So, obviously, you don't normally add monks in these instances. I do so because I'm mainly up against the knight player. And so, I get some conversions here to hold. I like Blue's energy, though. Like, when Blue's ahead, he just dives. Which I think some people lack. Especially if you're underdog. You just got to take your fights. And as he took that fight, he's now into my eco again. And is completely slaughtering me. And runs away. And I say, I think we can GG. Let's think about it. 18 crossbows for Dobbs. 40 for the opponent. He's also behind by 15 Vils. I'm behind by 30 Vils. I'm behind by, let's say, 3 knights. It's GG. Or so I thought, but, you know, I didn't really know the full situation. I thought I was maybe being a bit of a negative Nancy, and Dobbs didn't want to GG yet. Dobbs probably couldn't believe that we would lose to people under 2K. Like, how dare we lose to someone under 2K? So we continue to fight. And Dobbs getting some pretty crazy raids in on this side. And he's taking momentum. He might have less numbers, but this fight is absolutely incredible. Am I still having a tough time at home? Absolutely. Is my eco a mess? Absolutely. I'm still kind of hanging in. And we have to do more with less. Dobbs has been able to overtake his opponent with Vils. And as I like to say with my cast all the time, he's got control of the game because his opponent chased him. Blue's going to raid Dobbs now, which is just horrible. I thankfully am able to field up enough knights to actually push that back, though. And so that's a pretty good moment for us. Dobbs lost his crossbowman in Teal's base. We're still now 70 population behind. And Blue is diving on Dobbs. And Teal, I never saw this. Teal says, wait for numbers or he kills all again. Okay, so Teal tells him to wait and conserve. Well, guys, this is where we start to claw it back. Because I start to find some raids. See, Blue is in the other position, right? The right play... Okay, look at this right now. I actually am diagnosing this because I think it's important. I want these two, and I want you guys to learn a little bit from this, okay? As I said before, anytime you can get the flow of the game, you can take that away and someone has to react, that's great for you. And right now, all the numbers stack up for them, and there's army going home. This is a panic moment from Blue. I was able to get this knight here. This knight's killing some Vils. I was able to hit this gold here. I'm able to hit this wood, and all the army comes home. If they both advance together right now, they probably smash and kill Dobbs. I was just able to win some fights, get into the moments, and I'm able to feel in the game. I remember being like, I'm hitting him on all of his golds. Like, that's golds forward, this gold's here. You'll see random knights. I'm clicking them in the back of Teal's base. So anyways, Dobbs is on the way to Imp. Here come my knights back to his gold. Look at how big this army is. They're coming to me to kill me. The only positive thing about that is I'm already dead. And they're going to dive to kill me. Now, before it was like I lose a bunch of Vils and I can still eventually make army. No, this will actually defeat me. So... one TC goes down. I build another one to survive. Just to keep what I can alive. And I've still been able to at least keep him off of gold to stop him from taking gold and making more knights. Now I now have to basically die slowly. I'm of no value, and I say, let me die and kill player one, because that's the goal. What do I... The only thing I can do now is micro my knights and produce out of that one TC. That's the main factor I offer here. I've got a knight on stone. I'm still going back to the gold. Still looking around. And my micro is way better now because... I mean, I don't have an eco to manage. And blue is kind of stuck at the moment. And he says, I can't go up. Now, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? 27 knights in this forever cycle of having to make knights. Lots of exposed golds, lots of problems, lots of garrisons, lots of stress. And now, Dobbs is up to quite a few Arbalest and starting to treb down Teal. So, I mean, Dobbs, after the horrible start, able to come back into the game, has some momentum, but Teal has 72 crossbowmen to upgrade here. And Dobbs doesn't have anywhere close to the numbers there. Now, Teal loses a couple units there for a second, but now the knights from blue are here. And the castle will stay up for Teal. They still have an 80 population lead. I am at 35 pop, and I ask again, now can we GG? I mean, I'm still, like, running around with weak knights. Tried to hit the gold there again, I think. It's just... I mean, it just feels like this should be impossible. But, you know, I'm a Vil producer. And I realized that Dobbs was starting to do damage and the score was close. So I said, I don't want to be that guy that's complaining as the opponent's doing everything, basically. So I said, never mind, you're beasting, bro. And he is beasting. Blue has really taken some damage to this. Blue has been really rattled. And so Dobbs has killed quite a few Vils from blue. I'm still pretty far from catching up. Blue actually has an army. Blue finally got the resources to go in, but blue is just constantly stuck, it feels like, on this in the cycle of having to produce knights and not really having enough to protect the eco. It's just a pain. I'm trying to be a nerd, by the way. Knights up the wood line here. Knight camp in the stone. I also have 2 villagers there for whatever reason. And Dobbs is trying a treb push. And he's actually making a switch to Cavalier, too, which is crazy. That's more of a 1v1 move. Normally in team games, you're going to stick to your role. But in this case, he needs to play it like a 1v2. The Cavalier could be really helpful against skirms. Teal is holding so well here. He's pretty much mashing everything that Dobbs does. And now Dobbs has dropped castles to protect me and take some of my gold. I've worked my Vil count back up to 62, but there's Cavalier coming through. And this is just not a good time. And Dobbs still has not been able to take a castle down. Teal is starting to wall. And I am still basically out of this game for the time being. Dobbs is sending me resources so I can, like, eventually get back into the game. But I just don't have consistent eco right now, which is the issue. And Teal's starting to go for a push. And Teal does overextend a little bit, though. I mean, I'm sure that Teal was very surprised by the amount of Cavalier. Dobbs is playing like a god right now. How he got to this many Cavalier, I'll never know. I guess he's taking my gold, and he's Portuguese. But he takes those trebs, and now there could be a bit of a snowball here. Keep an eye on Kados. Kados has 5 on gold right now, so he doesn't have a lot of gold to make arbs. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe he just ran out at this point. And Dobbs is getting raided in the back. He'll go to deal with that, but he's pushing now. And the population still 70 difference. But we've got a little bit of control back into the game right now. I say we. Yes. But yeah, my thinking was I will go light cav and raid, and then I will spend all gold that I get from Dobbs on trade. And then hopefully in late game I can be back. So, walled this up. Blue is here taking the gold. We get the raids in there. Dobbs is completely clearing Teal. And we take the score lead, and now the population is even. It took Blue a very long time to coordinate with his teammate on this side. And so, I mean, what more can I say about Dobbs? For as bad as his Dark Age was, his Imperial Age is insane. And I say that hoping he watches this. Because I respect you, bro. I respect you so much that I have the trash talk, you know? Like I said, we've probably played well over 100 games against each other over the years. And I'm slowly getting the resources to be back into the game. Dobbs has a nice forward castle position. Dobbs has castles protecting me here. And the others seem kind of stunned at the moment. But the reason I'm fast forwarding is because this game is still far from finished. I'm only raiding with Lykev in Castle Age. I still need to get Imp, which takes 3 minutes. We still need some time. But the units are starting to run through. We'll start to get some damage. It feels good to actually show myself playing the game for the first time in a long time. And I was figured that Cavalier would be a really good play. With the stirrups upgrade, they attack faster. You can just spread them out in the time being, just with Lykev and Knights into the back of their eco. And they're now tied with us in pop, but they're just chasing. Everywhere you go, they're just chasing. And Blue is lacking belief and says, I lost everything. It's GG. And Kados is saying T90 still castle, so they're going to keep fighting. So Dobbs couldn't believe that they're winning, that we're winning. I couldn't believe it either. But the fight is far from finished. I can understand why Blue wanted to call it, because, like, they don't have a lot of gold income, and I just raided so much. Like, there's still random units in the back. Like, that was really frustrating to deal with. And if they didn't win the game before, they're probably not going to feel like they're going to win the game now. But he's got fully upgraded Hussars. And so I did have a hole here I needed to plug, and there was now another hole? Like, what is up with that? That's the second one next to a stable this game. This is horrible for me. He's now trying to return the favor with the Cav raids. There were some raids here as well. Just a ridiculous game. I do have trade. Dobbs is into the back with that trade. I need to build up towards a gold comp, but still not quite enough trade to feel super comfortable yet. So I kind of figured Blue spamming Hussars, my Hussars should be better, right? But now Blue's got the momentum. Like, Blue's making me react. Blue's making me have to work. It's just a crazy game, guys. I think you see now why I've kind of sped up, because it's just such an absolute grind. And we are winning in population. Actually, pretty considerably, we're winning in populations. That's really good. Blue didn't know there was a gap here, I guess, so we make it through. That's always good. And we've got nice frontline defense. If there's a point to slow it down, I definitely will do it if I feel it's required. But for now, I think we continue on this way. 70 army for Dobbs. He's got that snowball going now, so he's not really raiding much. And Dobbs has 5 castles on the map. So if he can break through here, kind of feels like we're going to win the game. Hussars from Blue still running through. I'm still chasing. But yeah, we've got Crepos, castles, stone walls all along the front here. And then some random stone walls elsewhere too. Felt like we brought the game back, right? It felt like the game was probably going to be ours. We're the favorites. We were behind the whole game. It felt like we were impossibly behind. But they're actually holding on pretty masterfully here. Teal saved up the trebs and didn't trickle treb. So now Teal can take down one of those castles. One of the castles falls. And my Hussars show up to try and save the day. Now both teams are adding trade. Teal has trade. Has 40 trade cards. Blue's got about 20. And I think... And I feel kind of self-conscious about going fast throughout the whole game, guys. So I'd love some feedback in the comments and if that's an issue for you or not. But I think we're going to go normal speed from here. Because this is really close. So army counts, we're ahead. Army type, that's questionable. Obviously, you always prefer to have gold units. So that feels pretty good for Dobbs. But Incas can spam skirms all day to match that. We're noticing there were vills on the wood lines here, and if you look in the back, there are trees. But yeah, this is going to become kind of a wood game. And we've got, I mean, there's plenty of wood lines through the middle that we're going to need to pay attention to. But I'm just, like, what you don't want to do here is you don't want to spend gold too early and then not have that switch be worth anything because you're delaying trade. So I just now have reached a point where I can queue trade and queue cav. And so, again, Cavalier do attack faster. It should be better than the Khmer Cavalier. The one thing I don't have is I don't have the crazy Khmer farms to work with, but still. We've had Siege Ram mixed in from Teal over here. But behind this, Teal is prepping an Eagle switch, which would be devastating to the army from Dobbs. Dobbs has been full Arbalest. If he's not going to make Arbs at this point, he might make, like, I don't know, a Cavalier or two. But we're back on rolls now, where I'm stuck on Cav, and he's going to go for archers. Couple of Hussars into the back here. Still always working hard to try and manage that. And from my perspective, I'm trying to find ways through his walls all the time. By the way, you see this? You see the units going this way and running back? They added a feature recently where you can hold shift and tell your units where to go. So basically you can set like multiple rally points like you would to send units. I hate it because I accidentally shift all around the map and I do not know why. Like, you see this? I unfortunately, I haven't adapted to it. I actually have random bits of population just all over. And it's a real problem when your population's not going to the right spots. Obviously, eventually, I select some of them and send them forward. And then I have to command my buildings to go somewhere. But it might be just the speed in which I'm clicking. I don't know. But this is about to get really dangerous right now. Because Eagles are here. And these are Incan Eagles with crazy armor. Now, I'm going to turn off market events. So you can just see sling and whatnot. But Dobbs is going to need to switch into something other than Arbalest because of this. And he says Eagles is issue. And yeah, we've got an issue on our hands. I thought that this would be, like, after coming back from hell, basically, I thought we would have had this one. At this point, like, we're both going Cav, and I have the stronger Cav. But they've held as well. And they've held really well. Credit to them. They've got the trade set up. They've got some coordination now. Blue's going to come this way. And kind of what I said earlier, because I'm not immediately attacking blue, he hits me. And now this could cause some real problems for us. Now, population efficiency is a really complicated thing in late game because you only have 200 pop. You want trade, but if you have too many vills with the trade, you might not have the military. And so in my case, that's becoming a bit of an issue. And Dobbs is going to get completely surrounded here. And I figured I'm going to send Dobbs resources. So I say I'll sling him. But he is getting wiped off the middle of the map right now. Crazy game, right? Like, crazy game. Now, Blue's over here. So now I'm going to siege brand push into Blue's base. It's just never ending. This is such a fight, man. I really thought that Blue didn't have wood in the back or something, because I kept seeing villagers pop up here from both of them. But yeah, Dobbs is kind of scrambling to make army. And I think the best unit for him would be organ guns here. But for that, he needs castles. It's also way harder to produce organ guns than Arbalest because, well, you got to produce out of castles, right? So I'll come over to help with this. I think Teal misclicked his rams now. Yeah, I think he just clicked all the rams on screen to go after the siege workshops, which is pretty bad, actually, because he might have taken the castle otherwise. I'm ram pushing in to push the castle that Teal has over here. And that is the one thing we have an advantage with right now, is the position of walls and the position of castles. Blue is even going to repair here. Amazing fight. And castles should actually stay up in that location. So we both save a castle. Eagles and Cavalier get through into some of the eco from Dobbs here. Now, here's where losing villagers, back to what I said before, doesn't necessarily hurt as much. But I'm just like, above all else, I am adding crap tons of trade here, right? Like, I've got 56 trade with 18 more in queue. And so I just figured I'd send whatever Dobbs needed. And if we could get him onto organ guns or maybe just back up, maybe into hand cannons, I don't know. The fact that he doesn't have the trade as much trade as me could be good. I was back there. I saw their eco. I didn't feel like it was quite as good as mine was. But what a grind. Amazing, honestly, from everybody in this game. Crazy that we came back to this point. I thought we were so dead, and blue and teal, I'll talk more about that at some stage, but like, yeah, it's just a banger of a match, man. Hour and a half long. We've got the walls up, we've got the trade, but I really didn't know what more I could make with the Bulgarians right now. There is an issue long term, and that issue is that if the Khmer player is fully boomed, which he pretty much is right now, and he can afford elephants, I don't have a unit that can match up easily against Mass Elephant. Like, that is a horrible combination, and this was played like 2 months ago, so maybe you didn't see as many examples of it in other games if you're active around the scene. But Ballista Elephants are absolutely broken ever since they made the change that Scorpions are affected by Ballistics. So that or Battle Elephant. I mean, Battle Elephant is double the HP of Cavalier, plus extra attack with the Khmer. It would be a problem. Blue's over here with good numbers. The problem with going hand cannon is it fires much slower, and Arbalest will beat that. So you kind of have to go hand cannon to respect the Eagles. But then if Teal just goes right back into Arbs, then you could have a problem. Dobbs is going organs, which is good, but he lost that one castle, and all of his castles are spread out for map control. So here you see organ gun production across the middle of the map. It's just not an easy situation for him to mass. We've got a slight population lead, but just keep an eye on the trade. Now, how I view it, because you, like, now that you're casting, you see 167 eco pop for me, which is obviously too much, right? What I do is I look and look at my resources. And as far as I'm aware, from what I'm seeing, like, I can't delete vills because I'm not floating wood and I'm not floating food. Now, part of that could be because I have a lot in queue, which is fair. But it never felt hugely natural for me to delete pop at this point. And pop is kind of what I need to support. It's a weird thing. Like, everyone's climbing up an eco, actually. So we're all kind of facing this problem. It's very unnatural to delete your trade. You don't really want to do that. But, yeah, I mean, I get a slight raid back here. I might get into their trade. But I'm stuck in this cycle of having to hold and not really being able to push right now. So, Blue just said the magic words. And this game will continue to be a banger here, folks. I'm going to speed it up a little bit as we get to our next stage of the game. Yeah, this continues for a while. And he says, maybe elephant. Yeah, maybe elephant. You've got 45 trade carts. You've got 7,000 food. You've got the stables. Maybe elephant indeed. Massive fight over on this side. Dobbs is able to get some organ guns massed finally. But they get jumped on by the Cavalier. So the Rams even in there. This is an incredible fight for the other team. So I'm asking what the food count was like because I felt like I needed food all the time. And I was able to get back into the trade a little bit. It didn't really accomplish much, honestly. And I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. Now, I did go for Elite Conic. So I've got Elite Conic on the way. That's stronger than the Cavalier. Plus, when the unit dies, you've got the Rider. Like, in theory, that should be helpful in some ways. But just as I get to Conic, there's Elite Battle Elephants. And Elephants beat Conics. And Elephants can be produced from stables. I have to produce out of the Crepos. So I'm going for raids now. Because I'm scared of those elephants. I want him pulled out of position. But Blue's an absolute beast. Look at this. Kind of traps me a little bit. That's pretty sick. Dobbs is still trying to make some progress on this side and get the organ gun mass a little bit higher. But I'm thinking through my options right now. Like, what more can I do And Conic is one of the things. The next thing would be Siege. Like, look at how strong these elephants are. That's crazy. 14 plus 7 attack. I think he's got a third of the amount of units I have in there, and he still is kind of taking good trades. If he can get the same number of elephants as I have Conics, I think it should always be better for the elephants. Organ Guns have a vulnerability against Siege, so Siege is added now from Teal. I'll slow it down again. But this is crazy. We're closing in on the 2-hour mark. There's less than 100,000 wood remaining on the map. So Bulgarians don't have very good monks. In fact, I found out a lot about the Bulgarian monk tech tree in this game. But I felt as though I needed to add monks because conversions and healing could be helpful here. That combined with Siege, combined with the Krepos, I was hoping was enough. And the other thing that happened at a certain point is I deleted Vils. I don't know. It might have been within the last 5 minutes. Maybe you saw it on screen. But I had like 100 Vils before. I'm still adding more of them just because that's instinct. But I did delete some pop. So I freed up a bit more army. Dobbs needs to keep this castle up. He does. And he's got Lykev now, which could maybe snipe the Onagers. And this is just a back and forth absolute grind as I now have Siege Onager on the way. Now, I keep talking about how OP the elephants are. I haven't lost too much ground. The thing that we haven't seen yet from Blue is a full elephant queue. Maybe the trade count's not perfect for that yet. 50 feels pretty reasonable. I've stopped at 82 trade, which is very, very high. But anytime you're greedy, as these organ guns absolutely delete the ARBs there, anytime you're greedy, the longer you get away with it, the more payoff there is, right? So I'm floating tons of res. And I actually buy up a considerable amount of stone as well. And so it's weird. You have that much trade, you don't have the pop to push, but you have that trade and you don't get pushed, then life is better for you, right? And organ guns were absolutely the play on this side. These units, they kill the eagles and they kill the ARBs. It's really complicated for them to deal with this. If anything, they might need to switch sides, and they might need the elephants on one side. And, I don't know, maybe Kameyux for Teal or something? I don't know. He only has 2 castles. Blue needs to push and kill me, basically. And Teal needs to hope for some big Onager shots. And the Onagers are in! The Onagers are going to hit! That was some crazy micro from Dobbs. One more hit there, he probably loses half his army. I lost my Krepost. Siege Rams are taking down my buildings. And now we have Ballista Elephants in production from Blue. I'm going to get all type of elephanted in this game. Cavalier go through to snipe the Onagers. Cavalier Edition, again, was really nice from Dobbs. So Teal is still... Teal is... Well, he's not saying this, but he basically has to hold. And all the signs are there that Blue has to push me, right? If Blue doesn't push and kill me, they probably lose it in the north. Also, I went for a sneaky Krepost here, ram into the trade, doing my best to add some production here to save him and maybe raid where I can. Dobbs is going to be through. So again, all I have to do is I just have to hold here, guys. I've got 38 Conics in the queue, but I only have 2 Krepos on screen, which is an issue. The stables are all here. But I'm running into this massive death ball. My siege workshops aren't really there. I actually am really light on wood at the moment. And so I'm going to buy castles just to hold. But this is getting out of hand. You can see I'm trickling an army. I don't know where to send it. It's very hard for me to get army collected anywhere but where the buildings are. And so as we ram down the market in the north and some Cavalier get through, and as Dobbs advances forward with his Trebs, this is becoming a problem. Like, this is becoming a massive problem. I tried Siege Onagers. I made a lot of monks. I'm sure I got some conversions here or there. But I need these hits to flatten, and I know people are going to tell you that Onagers counter ballistas. I'm not really convinced. It's not so easy, especially on an open map. We'll get some trade kills, but Blue will lose population in the north. You think I'm freaking out about nothing? No, that's 3 more elephants that are going to be on my face, bro. Teal will clear this up. This still needs to be dealt with. Big onager shots from Teal out of the sneaky Siege Workshop. Or the Siege Workshop isn't sneaky, but you get my point. And so this is Khmer Heavy Scorpions with double crossbow. This is Ballista Elephants with double crossbow. There's Rams, there's Trebs, there's Hussars to snipe my Siege. And so, obviously, I do not want my Siege exposed like this, but I'm distracted because I think I'm dying right now. And it's still just such a heavy economy. Monks are coming out. I need those conversions. Dobbs is trying to break through. Dobbs is actually making progress here, too. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely insane. They will save most of that trade. It's headed to a new market in the north. And I am just stuck right now against this death ball. I can't do anything. Now, what I really need is I need a bunch of wood to build more buildings in the back. And then I could maybe go, like, I need 6 more siege workshops and 6 more stables. But I'm still in a situation where I can't really do that. Asking for wood and for food, asking for what I can. And now Teal comes out of nowhere to take down this castle. Crazy, man. I mean, if Dobson noticed that castle would go down. The Eagles hop out as well. Like, that's got a chance of taking that castle out. And also, the Trebs from Dobbs went down. Dobbs is completely fallen flat here on the front because he has to go home. That's been the theme of the game, right? Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One team takes control back after the other steals it. And Trebs from Teal could maybe advance forward. I'm laughing that I'm dying because I almost couldn't believe it. And I also might realize that Dobbs didn't have his army on the front anymore. I thought he lost it. Even right then, I thought he lost them. But yeah, it makes sense. He brought all his organ guns home. I mean, he's still got Cavaliers that can go into the trade. But I need to defend my trade. And guys, I have 82 trade cards. Remember that. What I need is units. Like, I need wood, I guess. I need, like, I need elephants. That's what I need. Something other than what I have is what I need. I need a big siege onager shot. I need all these monks to get conversions. That's very hard to do. Siege onager is in. I need stone now to repair this castle more. Just hoping the siege onagers will do enough here. But they killed the siege onagers so quick anyways. So tough to justify going monks in these situations. I've got 20 monks in queue, but there's hussars out, man. I'm struggling. But Dobbs is still in the back. Dobbs is killing some trade. They've also got eagles in our trade. At a certain point, I'm going to look at my queue. And I'm just thinking, like, I gotta delete some pop here. That's been the issue for me. Obviously, the unit type is an issue. But to cast this now and see 165 pop, if this wasn't me, I would absolutely be saying he needs to get rid of his pop. But the last thing you want to do is get rid of your trade. It's expensive. But honestly, I'm losing gold with the monks. The conversions aren't really happening. So, yeah, crazy game. Organs and Cavaliers still advancing forward here from Dobbs. He's kind of back on top of this. Dobbs gets hit by an onager, which is painful. But if he can snipe that onager, he might be able to take the arbs here. He split micros. That is some crazy micro from Dobbs. Really needs to take the onagers, though. I lost this castle. My trade is here. It feels weird to not make vills either. I think I do need to, because I'm gonna lose them so frequently. I just am stacking castles for the inevitable trade raid. Still so little wood. There's 71k wood left on the map. Like, I really just needed wood to get more stables. It sucks to have all this production here. It just sucks to see. I need more of that production over to the left, like in between Dobbs and I, ideally. Blue's got 36 ballistas. Now, the downside of ballistas is they can't take out buildings very very quickly, right? So, yeah. And also, hold up. Important moment in the game. I had 82 trade. And I have this... I'm sick of this moment. And I think I delete them somewhere. I don't know where. Or maybe they were killed? I thought I deleted them. Ah, right there. I just shift delete like 30 trade cards. I didn't have time to think about it. I figured there might be gold there too. Like in the cart, but I didn't have time to think about it. Because if I lose more ground, we're dead. And this is obviously painful. So I at least have an opportunity, as there was a very weird graphic, like Treb graphic on the screen there. At least have an opportunity to sacrifice 100 lives to take 2 Trebs to hold. I've got more monks in queue always. I've got more onagers coming from the left side now. I'm dropping more Krepos as well. This game is insane. We close in on the 2-hour mark. And I'm hoping to get enough conversions where the monks will earn their value. I figured if I survive, it's worth it. And actually, kind of the convenient thing there is ballista elephants don't do that much damage to other ballista elephants. So they soak a lot of fire, which allows my units to hit some shots. So that was probably the first time I think conversions actually made sense for me. Look at this army from Kados. I'm sorry. What army? The army's going to get deleted again by the Organs and the Cavalier. Man, what a game from Dobbs. He sniped all those onagers that were in there, and it's just repeating the same cycle where Teal needs more onagers. And I have actually held, because I've got 65 army now, because I could actually get some numbers, and now Blue is going to dive into our trade. And I've never got a chance to ask them, like, why dive here? It feels kind of logical if you can't take the buildings anymore. Like, we just stabilized. So this is a way of maintaining control, as I always like to say. And, yup, a lot of trade will die. A lot of things will die here for us. Obviously, all my army's going to come this way to try and deal with that. And now Blue's got more elephants along the front. And I now have 56 trade carts with more production happening. Markets had to be rebuilt at some point because there was a raid back here, which I missed. But Dobbs is advancing. Dobbs is actually advancing forward and making progress, and there's no castles here. I mean, we've got some fortifications. Here in this case, I've got to roll onagers all the way over here. Would have been great to be Mongols, so I had the siege speed. I just killed more of my own units than I killed his own elephants. That's a fun highlight. There we go. It's doing the job. It's helping. Blue is back, though. Going after a castle from Dobbs. Going after the Krepos. The distraction was maybe worth it, but Blue might need to support Teal soon. Teal at 50 trade. Blue at 39 trade. Whereas I'm at 55. Dobbs is at 18. Wow, so Dobbs is really lacking gold. His gold units are cheaper. But yeah, he just asks for gold. And before I had 80 trade and had a lot left over that I could share. Not as easy for me right now. Castle falls. So Dobbs now has only 2 castles to produce organ guns. And Dobbs doesn't really have the gold to fully finish off Teal, because Teal has 60 army. And it's mainly Eagles. Like, the Eagles will beat the Cavalier. Blue says, classic, I need all the resources. But let's talk about wood here. Like, wood is a really big deal. Here we find some raids. These Conics killed, oh man, 27 Vills. At a certain point, I noticed that Blue was sending Vills this way. It made me feel like they were out of the wood in the back of their base. Obviously, they're not. But it's getting pretty close. Like, yeah, Teal's got to come... Yeah, Dobbs has the middle fully towered. And there was a lot of villager activity in the middle at a certain point. What I didn't have for a while is I didn't have structure to how I was producing my siege onagers. I didn't have an army in front of my SO. I got distracted here, but I sniped 1 Treb at least. And here I at least have Conics. And then we have... Oh my god, Dobbs didn't have Arquebusts this whole time? The organ guns could have been stronger? Yeah, now I've got a meat shield for these SO. It was just like one onager the whole time. No wonder it looked horrible. Now I've got 4 onagers. And now the siege onagers are actually doing something. And I think blue really is just distracted with trying to stabilize. 76 villagers and only 39 trade. I've got 78 villagers with 60 trade. Always have trade in the queue, guys. Always. Well, actually, don't listen to me because I think I over-trade boomed. But it's kind of like producing vills. Produce vills until you're pop capped is generally the advice. And then you just delete the vills later. Something feels wrong about deleting trade carts, but obviously it had to happen here. The second my siege onagers got sniped, that was, yet again, not very good for me. And Dobbs, passing back up. Does this game have another chapter? I have gone 2 times speed in this, and we are going to hit the hour mark in this video, probably. But I don't know, it felt natural at this stage to go normal speed. I don't know why. Here there's a lot of trees. Here Teal is running out of trees. Dobbs just mentioned something about raiding the wood, which is a really good call. Because blue is over here taking those trees. Blue has 29 on wood, and that's 14 of it. And now Cavalier from Dobbs will run on through. I think the light Cavs, sorry, are just looking for onagers, though. They're looking for onagers, and the onagers are chasing. And oh, man. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, man, the arbs go down. The reason that's happening is because Teal is aiming to take this castle down, though. And there's hand cannons and there's organ guns to defend. I think the castle will end up falling. A lot of eagles will have to die. Blue learned his lesson before. And will snipe the siege onagers to allow the ballista elephants to move in. But the SOs get some hits at least. And that was a lot of bodies he had to sacrifice. And the elephant count isn't really that high anymore. Castle does go down. But Light Cav from Dobbs are in the trade. Now, that takes a long time to kill them. But it is something. And at the very least, it might be something that Teal has to go chase down. Right? The farmers are going down for blue as well. Also, I still didn't kill all of this. And maybe this is me realizing that I didn't kill it. Because I just got annoyed with my past self. That these bills are still here. It's funny how that works. Like I said, it's been 2 months. But I was thinking of content for the next few weeks. And it's kind of rare we bring team games to the channel, which I've been trying to improve. And this has been unreal, right? Just unreal. TC will probably fall here for blue. And just the last couple moments, you could probably just feel the trend. They're not dictating... Like, blue isn't able to raid me anymore. He seems like he's completely out of gas. Down to 35 trade from 50 at one point. 50 on food instead of, like, 70 at one point. All of these villagers are going to get raided. And I've still got my 73 trade cards, baby. Oh, man. I'm creeping back up with the big eco counts, too. Now, Teal... Let's have a Treb here and a castle. I think that's just for purely wood control, right? Like, there's so much more wood here. And blue... They played 2 hours. Blue says to Teal... I'm 110 pop, which basically means, like, I think I'm dead. Teal says always make vills, which, of course, is advice that probably isn't very helpful right now, but that's just Teal being like, come on, we can do this, we can do this. Teal does have a big army. Teal is the biggest army in the game right now. But because blue isn't able to harass me with anything of strong value, I now can send some meat shield over here for the first time in a while. And the Conics should be better than the Cavalier. I think a lot of my Conics are weak. Kind of curious how this fight pans out, because I also have the dismounted Conic that pops up. It isn't the strongest. It's only 50 HP. But it does add a little bit more value to your army. Well, okay, blue wins the fight, but fairly even trade. Big raids from blue on the wood line. These bombard towers, a great addition from Dobbs, who has just been, apart from Dark Age and Feudal Age, he's been unreal. He's been absolutely unreal. I've just been a slinger half the time, it feels like. It was 100 pop versus 200 pop. They had double the pop. And it took a long time, but we finally got to a position where it's pretty clear that we're going to win the game. And we've got the 100 pop lead, at least soon. And me and my 38 trade carts in queue, because I just can't help myself, is going to ensure that this game maybe goes on a little bit longer. But I knew this is GG. Like, there's no way they can compete with my res bank. I say we've got endless trade. We'll win if I hold. Ask for res. I'll basically sling him. Now Teal wants to call it, and they've got maybe one more fight. Or they call the GG. We'll see how these organs actually perform here. Well, never mind. We don't get to see how the organs perform there. It obviously was pretty over at this point. I mean, they still could have taken this fight. But yeah, I've got endless resources. And we hold on in the game. Now, check this out. The map started with... I expected that to be much faster somehow. The map started with 340k wood. It went down to 30k. So we chopped all those trees. Obviously, we took all the gold and the stone because that's just normal, right? But look at the resources collected and the KD in this one. Crazy numbers. Look at Capture Age even populate some of those icons late. Crazy numbers. Dobbs couldn't have done it without him, right? He had to sling me back into the game. He had to essentially fight 1v2 for a period there. So he's the MVP of the game, hands down. The KD obviously shows it. But there's the economy. You'll notice one thing stands out from the others. 82,000 trade profit. And that's part of why I think we were able to hold on. See, Dobbs' trade count was really low. And I sent him 14k gold, probably, mainly gold. So I'll take a little bit of credit for that, I suppose. I think really the key for me was that they lacked a bit more siege when they went for the kill here. They were so close. Like, they were making progress. It was just the fact that I think Teal was making the trebs and they didn't have a few more rams. Honestly, I think if it was even full battle elephant and not even ballistas too, maybe they win the game because Blue had to produce out of castles instead of the stables. I think he was doing fine before the ballistas. Lots of things to think to. Now, if you think back to how they threw the game, well, they threw the game because of one moment. I threw the game because of a moment where they chased. And I don't think I'm going back fast enough. I think we need to go back to this stage where they sent all their army home. And I don't know where it is. And it was too long of a game. Here. This is it. The whole wait for numbers or he kills all again. No, just send it. Just literally send it. There's actually not the play in this situation. He is listening to his teammate, but I'm out of this game, essentially. And maybe they don't realize that. They probably don't know they have as big a lead as they do. But this army, Blue's army, in my opinion, should just stay here. You can raid like an absolute madman. You get all the way over here, you stay. And then if Blue starts to have issues, any new army that he produces can go to defend, and then Teal can go deal with that. Or something. But yeah, I think it was just Dobbs was able to get some pressure off of him because of everything kind of focusing back towards Blue's base. And it just, you're going to find it all the way up. Like if Dobbs and I were to play like Viper and Doubt tomorrow, guess what? They're going to, if they get the same lead that the other team did, that we did, or what's happening? We didn't have a lead. Sorry. If they fall behind, they're probably going to bring it back in similar moments because you're just panicking and it's hard to view the moment for what it is. So, yeah, I aim to keep this at like 30, 40 minutes because the game was over 2 hours. It's still an hour long recording, but it's not every day you see team games. I thought that was cool. That's maybe one of the longest Arabia games I've ever played. Here you can see that Dobbs is faster than everyone. And again, well played to him. Total unit count in kills and deaths, probably. I mean, something like 10,000 lives were lost in this game potentially. So sad times for those villagers and military units, I suppose. But that is it, my friends. If you want more team games, please let me know. Also, I do actually want input on if it's cool if every once in a while I speed up a little bit. I feel weird doing it. It feels like, sorry if you can hear my cat. I think it feels a little like I'm trying to cheat you guys of a game. I don't think that's actually what it is, but I just feel that way. So it would be nice if you guys let me know for the long games or for the occasional videos if I do this, if that's cool with you or not. That is it from me. More videos to come. As always, thanks for watching. Oh, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, it does help. I know you probably just use the recommendations on YouTube, but if you're just using the recommendations anyways, why not subscribe? I'm trying to say this more because research shows it really helps to ask that every once in a while. So, yeah, I'd like to pump those numbers up so we can do some bigger things in the community. Would be amazing. Thank you, guys.